Hi, everybody. Welcome. It is week 4 of LIT 2000 honors, and we're going to take a quick look at what's going on this week, what went on last week, what's going on in the world, all those wonderful things. Couple of reminders. Of course, last week you had a discussion board on Play-Doh due. And it looks like everybody has turned it in, which is awesome. I've read most of them because I've been keeping up with them as they've come in. But just a reminder, if there's anything from weeks 1 through 3 that you haven't submitted, please do so. It's always better to submit it, even if it's late. If there's anything that's missing, feel free to go ahead and submit that. I had a couple of questions on the first paper about the possibility of revising the papers for new grades. Typically, that is not a real thing, just because we have so much stuff in this course. There's not a lot of extra time for that. But what I pointed out to the folks who were worried about it, as we get closer to the end, if there is some kind of danger, you've been doing all the work, but there's a danger that it's not going well because of one grade, it's typically not an issue because one grade kind of fades into the background by the time we get to the end of the course. But the main thing that I want you to do with grades is I want you to learn from the feedback and apply it to the next whatever it is, whether it's the next paper or it's the next discussion board, whatever the case may be. That's the goal of my feedback, is to help you get better for the upcoming assignments. So try not to stress about grades. If there is a grade that is really holding you back, we can revisit it. Probably around midterm, we'll take a look, see how everything's going. And it could be even at the very end of the course. If it's really the difference between one grade and another, we might work something out on a revision, but try not to worry about it. Like I said, most of the grades kind of fade into the background. 150 sounds like a lot of points compared to 100 points, but really it's not that big of an impact on the overall grade. So I think everything's going to be fine. But if you have concerns like that, you definitely can reach out to me. But just to kind of answer that question for everybody all at once, always a good thing to do. You have a midweek announcement to take a look at. This was an interesting find. I was thinking about the whole idea of philosophers and presidencies, and most of our presidents have not been what you would consider to be philosophers. We have a lot of smart presidents, but even then, maybe not philosophy. But there was an interesting example that I found of a time when someone ran for president who was a specifically oriented as a philosopher. So take a look at that if you get a chance. Kind of fun. All right, so let's take a look at the schedule first. Our course calendar, of course, we have in link form here on the homepage. And this is the week that you're going to be working on your plays. Now, your presentations, even the PowerPoint, is not due until the end of next week. So you have 2 weeks to read and work on your Sophocles presentations. I haven't heard from anybody whether or not you've been active over on the discussion or on the groups page. And because I'm not a member of any of the groups, I don't have access to that. But I would love if everybody would touch base. We don't have a real assignment this week, but I'd love if everybody would touch base by the end of this week and let me know how you guys are doing in terms of your groups. You could do your presentations without ever having a full in face-to-face or even via Zoom meeting, but it will be easier if you, as a group, designate some times to maybe get together on Zoom. I will not force that. I will not enforce that. You guys can make up however you want to communicate, but you are able, through the people link, in the left-hand corner or the left-hand side, you are able to contact all the members of your presentation groups. So you've been assigned one of the 3 Sophocles plays, Oedipus Rex, Antigone, or Oedipus at Colonus. Those readings are available in the LibGuide. If there is a problem with any of the readings that are in the LibGuide, you can reach out to both me and to our official librarian, Kevin Arms, at the same time. If you go to the people link, you will notice that Kevin is the very first one because of his lovely A last name. But you can message him in inbox just like you message me in inbox. So if there's ever any problem, I mean, if you tell me, I'll tell him, and he usually gets it resolved very quickly anyway. But it is he is available. He is in the course. So if you want to also alert him if you find any issues with that. We've got the groups. There's 4 people in each group. Like I said, I don't have access to it because I'm not a member of the groups, but you should be able to contact each other within there, and you guys can use any tools you want. I'm doing a online graduate certificate at UCF right now. And the class I was in over the summer, we had group presentations to do, or it wasn't a presentation, group work to do. Let's put it that way. And we used Zoom, of course, for live meetings. It was very hard sometimes to get everybody in the same place. So we recorded those so that people who were not there could be involved. And then we did all of our work in Google Docs. Google Slides is the Google equivalent of PowerPoint. And you can also set up a slide to be edited by other people, or a Google Doc to be edited by other people. I'll show you that today because that is something you may want to use. And then you can create it in Google Docs or Google Slides and then save it in official PowerPoint. The only way I know of to have everybody editing the same PowerPoint is to share it and then edit it. I think because Lake Sumter provides you access with Office 365, I think there is a way for you to edit a PowerPoint together. And I think there's a way to do that even within the groups, but if you know how to do that, then I'm excited for you. I know how to do it in Google Slides and Google Docs, so I'll show you how to set it up there, but you can use anything you want. I would suggest using Zoom to record the presentation, but that's not due for 2 more weeks. So we'll talk more about that when we get there. And even the presentation isn't due until the end of next week. So you may just want, for right now, a good strategy might be to set up a Google Doc where everybody can put their reading notes in. Because that's what you should be doing this week, really, is reading that play and doing any research that you want. So you may want to just use a Google Doc for notations and notes and things of that nature. That's always a good possibility. But that's what's going on this week. So in the modules, you will notice that you have, where do we go? Here we are. We still have the same links right back to the learning materials, but this will give you, again, that link to go to the readings, and then of course a little overview of what's happening. But your reading assignment is always in the LibGuides. And then, of course, like I said, you don't have anything officially due this week, but you can, of course, go ahead and get started on submitting the PowerPoint and on down the line. Our next set after we finish the Sophocles groups is going to be A Midsummer Night's Dream. That is a very long play. So if you wanted to go ahead and get reading that, you certainly it would not be a bad idea. And I showed in last week's module, we went to the LibGuide and showed where all the stuff was in there. So let me open a Google Doc. Let me go to Google here. And let's do docs first. So when you create a Google Doc, and this is a great example, you can see on my Google Docs the stuff that I did with my groups. We had our brainstorming session, we had a Google Doc for that, and then we had the actual documents. Then once this was done, we had to take this document and put it in Microsoft Word. But this was very helpful to be so that everybody could be working on the same thing. In order to have a Google Doc account, all you need to do is create a Google. Most of you have it. It's almost like it just exists, but you'll sign into your Google account and then you can start a new document. You can start a blank document. You could put in here whatever you wanted to. If you wanted to say, okay, these are going to be the reading notes on the play, and then anybody could come in here and do it. But you do have to give them access to it and the ability to edit the document. So let me show you how to do that. When whoever creates it would then want to share. It has a name, so I'm gonna save that as the name. And then you are still shown as the owner, but then whenever you share that link, you want to give anyone with the link access to do one of these things. They can be a viewer, they can be a commenter, or they can be an editor. For the purposes of working together in a group, you should probably make everybody an editor. But this is useful to know because let's say one person was going to take responsibility for doing the slides and they don't want anybody else to be able to change it, but they want people to give input on it. So in that particular case, you might want to say commenter, because what that will allow them to do is not just look at it, but they will be able to add their own annotations and comments. Okay. So once you've done that, excuse me, you can copy the link and share it with everybody. I think you can also just add people up here if you have their information. So feel free to do that. Now, let me show you really quickly with slides. I have not done much in Google Slides, although you can see I have done a few things here and there. You can create slides just like you do in PowerPoint. So let's say I want to start a blank one. Notice it looks just like PowerPoint, right? So you could create your presentation here. Again, when you're ready to share it with your group mates, or you want to share it, whoever creates it, you want to share it right away. Group work. We're going to save it. And then same thing, you want to have anyone with the link able to edit it, most likely. Again, unless one person is going to take, I want to do the PowerPoint or I want to do the slides. You can decide amongst yourselves how you want to manage that. But that's how you would do it in Google. And then that way you could operate without being in the same Zoom together. You could still add things to it. And you can make yourself your own rules. You know, you might say, I don't want anybody to change a slide, but if you want to add a slide, feel free to do that. And it's done. Google Slides operates very, very much like PowerPoint. So if you're used to doing a PowerPoint, you're going to be able to do this. So if I want to add a slide, I'm going to add the slide that has the title and body, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to do it the same way that you would normally. Now, the other thing, of course, that you can do, like you do in whatchamadiddle, PowerPoint, my brain just got lost there. You can choose a theme. So if you wanted to go ahead and have it look pretty, personally, when I'm working on a PowerPoint, I like to have my theme already in place, but you certainly don't have to do that. You can make it really plain and then jazz it up at the end, but that's where you do it for Google Slides. Okay, I think that's it. If you guys have questions, let me know. Enjoy your journey with Oedipus and Antigone. They are classics for a reason. Everybody take care and have a great week 4. If you need me, let me know. I'll be back with you next Monday for sure, and probably at least 1 or 2 times during the week for updates and things.